This morning I'm coming having a walk up George's Lane, and while I'm walking up there I'm going to stop at certain places and tell you what's happened along this one road that goes up to the moors, up to Winter Hill, up to the mast itself, because there's been quite a few things that have happened along this road, and it surprises me when I walk up here to how many things that have happened. We're heading up from the bottom, heading up towards the quarry, where there's been sightings of a big cat in there by two separate people. I'll let you listen to these as I'm walking up, because what I'm going to do is put the interviews I've gathered in the past, put it into this video so you can actually listen to the witnesses themselves as I'm walking along and coming to these certain points. So this is the entrance behind me to the quarry, where we get our first account.
What it were, Mick, I mean, to be honest, I had no interest in big cats or anything like that, me, at all.
Yeah.
But I started at that quarry, the smaller one.
Yeah.
And I've been on there for a while, but it were around about like 2018, it was summer, and where I'm sat, or was sat, you're looking out over towards Wales, like Snowdon and Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got the football, Bolton Wanderers Football Club, you know, and I'm sat right quite high up, and it's a great view, you know. I remember it vividly because it was like, I call it golden hour, you know, when for photography. And I looked out to my left-hand side, because there's a window at the side, and there's like a couple of hills, but there's like, it's piled up mud, if you will.
Yeah.
Dried out. And I could see something sat there. And when I looked, no word of a lie, because they were a side-on profile to it.
Yeah.
And it just looked like a cat. And it was sat there, but it was sat on its back like a dog would do, sat down.
Yeah.
And it was just surveying the land in front of it, facing the football club, and then it just like leant forward, got up onto all fours, and slinked away to the left-hand side towards the road what runs up at the side of that quarry.
I'm at an area now where we're in another part of the quarry, which is a lot further up. That is another entrance into that. I think one's an entrance and one's an exit, but I'm not sure about that. But this part where I am now is where the second sighting of the cat and the ex-security guard of their account.
I've seen it a few times, I went to 7 years. I've seen it all of those previous times. It would have been about 4 years ago, and it would have been towards the end of April, beginning of May. But the red eyes thing, you see them all the time, basically. The first time I ever saw them was just on Elia. And I radioed through and said, there's some red eyes here looking at me, and no one believes me. They're not red, they have like an orange tint to it. The red bulb was an orange tint. That's when I was going down into the bottom of the quarry. I got the police out, police wouldn't even go down.
What do you think it was?
I think it was a panther that roared at me. It was like a lion's roar.
So that one you just heard, the second security guard who had the account with the cat, we met just in this area, and as you can see, we just walk a little bit further up and we've got this area here, where our next witness, Denis, saw a UFO.
1980. Early one morning to get out of the house, just let the missus tidy up and stuff like that. And I got both my sons out. Daniel, who was the eldest at the time, we were about 4. Adam was about 2. Brought them up here just for half an hour or an hour, just to see what was going on. Got the buggy out of the car, put the youngest one in, and started pushing it this way, and we stopped. And I pointed out to Daniel where Blackpool Tower was, because you could see it then. You know, them trees weren't as big as they are now.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing that, I'm turning the buggy round, this craft came over my right side, heading in that direction, which at the time I thought was maybe Liverpool or Southport or that way.
Yeah.
And it had a funny flight with it. It wasn't straight like a normal aircraft. It had a slight pendulum movement like that as it was going very fast. And I probably watched it for about 4 seconds until it would gradually went to nothing. It just disappeared out of, it was that out of my eye shot type of thing. And it came from over there, I would imagine, all over my right shoulder. And as size, I would say, if you like, held a saucer at arm's length in the air, it was about that big, maybe even a bit bigger. And I could see the underneath of it, and it was 3 spheres in a triangular formation. And as it went further away, I could then start to see the top of it, which was built up with it looked like there was something right in the middle of it on the top.
Got up to now, we've got them 3 accounts, and I've only walked about not even half a mile, and 3 accounts within that little area. So if you can imagine this road, what I'm going to be walking on today, it's about 2 miles long, and we've got 3 accounts just from that little bit. So I'm just going to carry on walking now to the next bit and just show you what I'm looking at as I'm walking along, because there is a magnificent views here from this road, and I know a lot of people just come along this area and they do park up behind me there and behind me there just to look at over in that direction, which I'm going to show you. We got down there, we have the football stadium, the Bolton Wanderers football stadium, and then as we move across over there, now behind this line of trees here, they weren't there, you could actually see Blackpool Tower from this area. So this is where we are, and over in that direction, right down there, is where I live. I'm hoping the sound is okay on this today because it's very windy up here. It might not be it, but it's like getting out of the road. I'm feeling the wind and I'm feeling the cold as well. This morning I stopped the police on, thinking, well, I'm going to be walking anyway, so I'll keep warm, which it's not too bad at the moment, but the longer I hang around and stay in one place, the colder I get, so I'm better off just keep walking and looking at these lovely views. Now we have got some cloud coming over, and I'm hoping it doesn't rain while I'm up here, because there's no shelter and I will get a bit wet. But and I'm coming now to the half a mile point to starting down at the bottom of the road. And at this point, I don't think it's even half a mile, but at this point there's a road that turns off that takes you right up to the mast. Now I'm not going to walk that today, I'm going to carry on and go to a place called Wilder's Wood and walk that way towards Rivington Pike itself. If I'm feeling brave enough and warm enough, I might actually go to the top and show you more views of the area. But don't be disappointed if I don't go today, because, like I said, if the higher you get up, the colder and windier it gets, and you probably won't be able to hear me talking if I do that. So I'm at the line of houses and bungalows where our next account happened. These are the last houses along this road until you get to another area of one house on its own, which used to be a pub up here called the Sportsman's Arms. It's now the Sportsman's Cottage, and a little shop there called little coffee shop called the Pike Shack, which has got a little story behind it as well. This is the area now of our next account, which happened in this very field here. Now this little path, walkway at the side here, which I'm showing you now, was the original road going up to the mast. until they built what I believe is an underground reservoir underneath all this. You can see the entrances just there.
We were just messing about in the field at the end of the cottages. Well, you know, the bungalows, the last bungalow. We was in that field and we were just like messing about with horses, stroking horses and everything. And then all of a sudden I just got surrounded by this mist.
Yeah.
And it was like halfway up the field, and my friend was just a few metres away, and I just got surrounded by this mist, and I couldn't see out of this mist, and all of a sudden I heard this horse rear up, and I just looked up the field, and I saw this it looked real, like an apparition, but looked real as well. It was like in between, it was like a grey white, and I looked, and it was a horse rearing up on its side as though it was looking down at me.
Right.
And I remember what time it were. It were about dusk. It were 7:15 at night. I just remember between 7:15 and 7:15 at night.
Yeah.
And then as he were looking down at me, I remember seeing all this chainmail up his leg, and these boots that he had on. And it was like an armour, like a suit of armour. And when I looked towards his head, it was just all mist. You couldn't see his head or anything, it was just mist.
So I reached the spot now, this area. That's behind me, and the road going down. Where someone who a lot of you will know, Steve Mera had an account at this very spot I'm walking on now.
Steve, along with his partner, saw a Banshee moving about 30 foot off the ground, right in front of them, and went behind the wall. Then with both hands it lifted itself up with mouth agape and looked over the wall.
Now what I find eerie about that account is that area that you walk through. When we've been walking this area at night, and even sometimes during the day, going past that area, you get this eerie feeling as though there's something just not right, there's something just out about that little area. And it was so weird when I first heard this account, and where Steve on the video, you see where he is, that it gave me goosebumps really to think that, right, every time I walk past this area, not only me but other members of the team, we had this eerie feeling, you know, we get goosebumps as walking past. But now I know it's there, it makes it even worse. So that's the Pike shack behind me, on the sportsman's cottage, and I just got myself a hot chocolate while I was walking past. But this is the next account along this road is all about that house itself.
This account came from a book called The Winter Hill Scrapbook by Dave Lane. He had received an email whilst writing this book, and this is what the email said. I would like to tell you something that happened on the moors one night. My granddad was a no-nonsense man who had been a policeman in Liverpool for many years, before his retirement to Rivington. He was not a fanciful man, nor a liar. I was staying with them, as usual, and when I got up this particular morning, I knew something was wrong. My nan packed my stuff and some for her and Grandad, and took me home to Liverpool. They never went back to Rivington, to Sportsman's Cottage. It was not until many years later that I found out what made them abandon their home overnight. My grandad had got up in the night to use the toilet, as you would, and looked out the windows over the black moors. He saw something out on the moors that made him tell my nan he wouldn't spend another night there, and they came to stay with us until they could find somewhere else to live. They never went back there to stay, only to pack up and move away. My grandad would never tell anyone what he saw, not even my nan, and the secret died with him. All I know is that it scared him to death, and made him move out straight away. I miss Rivington a lot. Do you know of anything that my granddad could have seen? Are there any tales of strange things up there? I have wondered about it all my life, and if anyone else has ever seen anything that affected them.
So one evening me and Caroline were walking past down this area, and as you can see the mast in front, we saw a light going over the mast and nearly reaching the top and then just disappearing. So that's just a little thing of what's happened to myself up in this area. You know, we've got the mast behind us, where I just mentioned that about me and Caroline seeing the light. And we're coming to an area now where I got a report from someone who said while they were walking this bit here, and we just go around the corner a little, so with this you do hear stories of past events where people believe we had giants in England at one time. Now, someone who was walking this path and was walking up here said they saw a giant step from the left-hand side of this road and walk across and go up that area, that banking over there in the distance. Now, was this, if we did have giants walking the lands of England in the past, was this a sort of recording of them seeing this thing walking in front of them, this giant? You know, when we hear of things like this happening, there is no explanation of giants walking the lands around here. It's hard to imagine seeing something like that, but this is the area it was seen in. So I think this is going to be the closest I'm going to get to the tower, to Rivington Pike today, up at the top. The wind is picking up, and I know if I go up there it's going to be too cold for the clothes that I'm wearing. It might be hot getting up there, you know, with going all uphill, but I think by the time I get to the top, I haven't got an arch and I can feel the cold on my head because the wind has picked up. So what I'm going to do is walk behind me up here, and it'll take me down here into Rivington village itself. So I've got away from that window. I'm not too bad here. So you can see the Pike behind me. Now, I can see up there, we've got some workmen who were rebuilding the fence. It must have got brought with the wind. So I'm definitely not going to go up there now. But what I am going to say is, I got a report, which again you can hear on one of the videos, of a lady who was up there with her then boyfriend and her daughter, who were up at the top, and it was, I think it was around New Year's Eve at the time, and it was very, very cold, and she mentioned that they were up there and they were watching the sun going down, And up here, that time of year, when the sun goes down, it can be not warm, but more or less, like decent enough to walk around on. But as soon as that sun goes down, the ground just freezes. It becomes very, very cold, and especially up there on top of the Pike. Now, she'd not come up with torches, or they'd not come up with torches. They'd gone up to watch the sun go down and didn't think anything of it until it actually went down, and they thought, oh, right, we're up here. We know the direction of the car park, but still a bit unsure. And thought, oh, they better start making the way down. Now, as they did do, because of the ground frozen and getting worse, it was a bit slippy and a bit harsh. But they said on top of the Pike, all of a sudden came a dog from around the back of the Pike. They didn't see it belonging to anyone. And what it did, it walked in front of them. And it more or less brought them from the top down to the bottom, walking in front of them, but keeping at a pace that they couldn't touch it, but it kept turning around and watching them and more or less guiding them down to the bottom of the where the car park was. They said when they did get down to the bottom, which was a very harsh evening, because of the frost on the ground and some of the paths up here, when the water's been running and it freezes over, it's hard to get down them paths as well. But they did eventually get down to the bottom, and when they did, this dog, it just disappeared down a separate path altogether, and they never saw it again. Now, she believes that this could have been some guardian spirit, because you hear stories of this sort of thing happening with the black dogs and the shook. Sometimes it's a portent of death, but this one seems to be helping them. Now, on the other side of the Pike, as you can see behind me, where it goes down, there is a burial mound around that area. It has been excavated, I believe. I have spoken to someone from the Rivington, the Heritage Centre. He doesn't believe it was ever excavated, but I've heard from other people it has been. So I'm unsure about that. At one time when I was speaking to someone about it, they said, yeah, definitely it had been excavated, but there is no proof that it has been. So I'm not sure with that one. I tend to go towards a friend of mine, Derek, from the Heritage Centre. I take his understanding of it not being excavated because there is no proof. But yeah, as for the black dog following them down, it was just strange that it just came from nowhere and went to nowhere, but it seemed to open all the way down to the bottom near the car park. So as I'm walking along, I've left the Pike behind me, I'm coming up to another building which is called the Pigeon Tower. Now, I came across a video, and I think it was taken around 2012, and in this video it's two mountain bikers, off-road trail bikes, and they were up here, and they had cameras on their helmets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this video and put it on here so you can see what they saw. It is, I don't know whether it's some paranormal or not, but it does seem strange because this ground here is quite hard to walk on. Now, this figure that you see walks along it as though it's walking a normal path. has been said by some people that these steps come in town. The man who built this place, who built this garden up here, called Lord Rivington, and apparently his apparition has been seen walking down these steps. Well, I must say it's a lot easier coming down this area than going up. Plenty of times I've gone up from the bottom, walking all these steps. And as you've seen on the footage before, there's quite a lot of steps. So what I'm doing is getting my way down to the bottom. And this area is actually, at one time, so overgrown that the paths I'm walking on with all these steps couldn't be seen. And there are volunteers that come up here clearing these paths and making it easier for people like myself and other walkers to come out in this area and walk and appreciate all what they've done. Because I know if this was how it was 20, 30 years ago, these were just muddy paths, and it's amazing what they've done in this area. The clearing they've done, you know, it's absolutely brilliant. But can you imagine when they were building this place? Because it was built in the early 1900s, late 1800s, and all the workmanship that went into all the buildings around here, which you've seen. And I'm going to go down to an area right down there. As you can see, this goes on and on. At the side of this hill, that goes, well, the side of Winter Hill going all the way down to the village of Rivington, and this is what it's like going all the way down there. So the workmanship that's been put into this when it was first built, and the workmanship of the volunteers to come up here and clear it all, you know, it's brilliant. It's almost like a scene from Lord of the Rings, you know, with all these paths going here, there and everywhere. I mean, you know, I've got the choice to either go that way or, as you can see, that way down, which I'm going down, so I might as well take these steps and just keep going down all the way to the bottom. Now, coming from this direction, going up, it's hard. All these steps all the way up. I'm so glad I came this way rather than going up. Well, I did have my porridge this morning, so, you know, and I've got a lot of energy to burn off. So what I'm trying to do as well is while I'm getting weather like we're getting on a Friday like today, is try and get out as much as I can walking the landscape around Winter Hill, and maybe, you know, bringing the camera out and reporting the sightings that I've had from this area and talking about the places. But mostly I want to get out there because I feel for the last year or so, because of the rain, we've sort of been stuck in, and I've not been getting out as much as I like getting out. And I like my chocolate, and I seem to have put on a bit of weight, which I need to get rid of. And this does help. Yeah, I'm going to be careful here because there's nothing to hold on to. And they're just slabs of concrete as I'm walking down the steps. And it is a lot of steps. So I'm hoping this burns some of them calories away. Because I have been feeling a bit unhealthy being stuck in with the rain. Not walking as much as I usually do. Excuse me. A bit of a runny nose. You don't want to be sniffing up all the time, and all you can hear is me sniffing up. This is how long it's taken to get down all these steps as I'm walking down here. But it is a lot easier. Now, earlier on when I was telling you about the couple with their daughter who were walking down this area, this is a path they would have come onto. Anyway. And this path in winter, because it's quite wet now, but when it's the height of winter and it's freezing, frozen over, this area, I've come down here and I've slipped a couple of times because it's the water leaks down and it leaves a layer of ice, and you've got to walk at the side or try and walk on the grass at the side. Now this is new. What I can see here behind me, it looks as though it must have been another building here which they've done a bit of excavation, and you can see it. This apparently was called the South Lodge. This is what it would have looked like. This is the volunteers clearing. The little plaque here to tell you about it. That's the area, that's what they've done. Only small rooms when you look at it. I can imagine it being it's a lovely set. And they've done a good job of clearing it. Because I've just come from all the way up there. That's a path I'm going to take. But you can see this is what, when they come out of this building, they would have seen all this around. But that's quite a lovely building. They've done a really good job. This would have been great, wouldn't it? So this would have been the footpath up to the road, which I'm going down to now. So I'm down at the bottom now. The Pigeon Tower, you can just about see up there. These are the woods I've just walked down through with all the paths. This area is where the couple and the girl would have come to. They went straight down to the car park, and apparently the dog went down this path here. Now I've just noticed one of my old flyers for anyone who comes across anything about unusual around this area. They've got me details on there. So yeah, this area, all that area behind, and we're now walking towards a Rivington village. What I will do in the description below is put links to the other videos that I've actually spoken about today as I've been walking over. and then you can click on that and listen to the full stories.